everybody, today I'm going to be recommending to you 5 mind-blowing books. So be prepared to be mind-blown. The most popular video on my channel right now is me recommending you guys mind-blowing books. And I didn't do a follow-up to it until 4 years later, aka what we're doing right now. Mainly because I wanted to make sure that the books I was recommending to you guys were mind-blowing and would astound you just as it did me. Because if you guys are like me, when you're reading books that have plot twists in them, you tend to try to guess the plot twist before it ever happens. But in the past 4 years, I've found some amazing books that have had plot twists that are just really good. And the books are really good themselves. So I thought that I would be doing you guys a favor for following up the first video with the sequel. But before we jump into it, I want to let you guys know that my book, Nexus, which is a sequel to my other book, ZENITH, is coming out in less than a month. And if you pre-order it now, you get a free perk with your pre-order. A gift! From me to you! Pre-ordering is one of the best things that you could do for an author that you want to support besides reviewing their book on Amazon. And I'm really grateful that I'm able to give you guys a little gift in return for doing that pre-order. So please, please, please go down to the link below and pre-order Nexus. And it would mean the absolute world to me. This book is the end of a series that I feel like I've been writing for so many years because I kind of have. Lindsay and I have been at this since I was 18 years old. That was 4 years ago. And I don't know, I'm very grateful. And if you guys do pre-order, it would mean the world to me. So thank you so much. I'll be linking the pre-order link down below and also a link where you can submit your pre-order so you can get that special surprise. And with that being said, now let's jump into the mind-blowing books. Dun dun dun! So the first book in today's video is Verity by Colleen Hoover. A lot of you guys have heard of Colleen Hoover books before, and probably a lot of you have heard of Verity before. It's such a hyped book, but it is not an overhyped book because all the hype is so accurate. This book is probably one of the best books I've ever read in my whole entire life. It is amazing. It left me shooketh. That's it? Oh, I need a minute. What was this book? And what did it do to me? Deep breath, Sasha. Deep breaths. So let me tell you what Verity is about before I jump into why it is mind-blowing. So Verity follows the story of Loan Ashley, and she is a struggling author. But then she's offered the job of a lifetime by Jeremy Crawford, the husband of Verity Crawford, who is one of the most popular authors of our generation. Fictionally, at least. She doesn't actually exist. Duh. So she signs a contract to co-author the rest of Verity's series because Verity has been injured by an accident and can no longer write. And so Verity packs up her life in New York to go and do some research at the Crawfords' estate in Vermont. And there, among the piles of Verity's very cluttered office, she finds a manuscript that is an autobiography that Verity wrote and probably planned on no one seeing but herself. And within it are bone-chilling admissions to things that will literally make you want to crawl out of your own skin, including what happened the night that their family's lives were changed forever. And so Loan decides to keep this manuscript hidden from Jeremy, who knows nothing of it, because it would devastate the grieving father who lost 2 of his children. And throughout the course of the story, Loan starts to fall for Jeremy, even though Jeremy is very much dedicated to helping his ailing wife. But he probably wouldn't be helping his ailing wife if only he knew what horrors she wrote about. So pretty much that's the summary of the book. So you can very much expect there to be bone-chilling discoveries within this novel, but not of the sort that you probably would assume, especially when you get to the end of it. Because let me tell you, I'm the kind of person to expect things, and I did not expect this one whatsoever. And oh my lordy, did this book terrify me and amaze me and make me want to be sick, but still kept me reading throughout all the nausea. It is just such a phenomenal book. It makes you question everything. That is what a good book does to you. Okay guys, so that's number 1 on my mind-blowing books. Let's get on to number 2, and that is Paper Princess. This is not Paper Princess. This is the second book of Paper Princess. I do not know where Paper Princess is on my shelf because it is a very hectic mess after moving. Still need to organize it. Don't judge me. But anyways, guys, Paper Princess. It was a book that was also very hyped. Probably 2 years ago is when I first heard of it. It was on the New York Times bestseller list when my book first hit as a self-published novel, and I was like, ooh, you look interesting. It wasn't until I saw it on my roommate's shelf that I was like, okay, my roommate has it, if my roommate has read it, it's probably a very good book, so I'm going to go and take the plunge and read it. And boy, was I happy I did. What? Nobody told me that there was gonna be a plot twist. I need the next book. Where's the next book? I need the next book. I have no chill. So Paper Princess is a contemporary novel that centers around the story of Ella Harper, and she's pretty much has had a very difficult life. She worked in strip clubs, and by the way, she's quite young. She's under the age of 18, but she had to do what she got to do in order to get by, especially when her mom passed and her dad passed as well, and she was just pretty much thrown out on the streets, and she had to survive by any means necessary. So she's been moving from town to town, trying to get jobs wherever she can, up until the day Callum Royal appears and tells her that he is her guardian and she is going to come with him to live the life of luxury. Little Theo has joined me. Hi, Fiona. So Callum Royal takes Ella from her life of poverty into a life of luxury. And that means throwing her into his mansion with his 5 sons and into a very posh school. And it doesn't help that each of his 5 sons are very, very magnetic. But none of them are as magnetic and as just luring as Reed Royal. But Reed is pretty much determined to send her back to the slums from which she came. And this book pretty much follows the story of Ella and how she's trying to fit into a world that she never knew she ever belonged to. It is just such a addictive, compelling, and also heartbreaking story. And oh, it's just so good. I read all of the books in like a week's time and just devoured them, and it was just so amazing. But the thing is, each book ends in a plot twist, and each one of them is so just jarring and shocking that you're like, what? I just love this series. I love the characters, and I think that's why when something very jarring and just life-changing happens to them, especially at the end of each and every book, it's just turns you upside down and trashes you to the ground in the best way possible. And that's why you have to just have the next book on hand so you can snatch it up and read it right after the last twist comes. Okay, so now we're gonna get to our fantasy book pick, and I'm so excited to chat about this one just because a lot of you guys know what it is, so you could probably be like, yeah, I relate. And that is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. Okay, if you don't know who Cassandra Clare is, she is the queen of fantasy in my opinion. She's the one who got me into this community in the first place. And even though I have yet to finish this series, which is the Dark Artifices series, which is an offshoot of the Mortal Instruments series and all of her other series, all her series are an offshoot of one another, and their stories weave together so seamlessly, and the world is just phenomenal. And guys, Cassandra Clare is just an expert story maker. So pretty much she gave us Lady Midnight, and I remember reading it. I forget if I read this really fast or really slow. I think I read it like moderately. I forget. Oh my gosh, it's been a while. But I remember just absorbing every single bit of information that was being presented to us, and then we got to the end of it, and boom, boom, boom! So many twists started hitting you, and so many just mind efferys were just being thrown in your face, and you were not ready for it. Ah, that's the thing. You can never trust anyone in her books.
Okay, Cassandra, let's see what you got for me. Ah, Clary!
Oh my gosh, jeez!
Jim, is that you? Until my emotions are compromised. Oh, that's so nice. I love this game.
What? No? No? What? What?
What? What? What? I can't trust no more.
And the thing is, I didn't throw this book across the room when I was done because, first of all, this is a thick book. That would do some damage. But second of all, I have to reread the ending a couple times to be like, oh my god, did that just happen? Did that little seed of information at the very beginning of the book come to pass at the end of the book in an explosive, crazy, mind-twisting way? Oh yes, it did, because it's a Cassandra Clare novel. Always does. So yeah, still shooketh from that, even though I read that book a couple years ago. And, yeah, it was definitely something. Okay, everybody, now we're gonna get to Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the second book, because once again, I can't find the first book on my shelf. But that's the thing. I love her books so much, so I always take them out for videos, and then I put them down on places that aren't the bookshelf, and then I move, and then I lose everything, and I am stuck with the second book in the series instead of the first book when I want to talk about the first book, but I failed myself. Oh my god, wait, I found it! Oh, wait, it's on the shelf right in front of me. How did I miss you, Stalking Jack the Ripper? I found it. Ooh, I'm happy. I'm gonna keep them together now. We're just gonna hold them like this so they're never apart. Stalking Jack the Ripper, everybody. One of my favorite books ever. This is the book that I read 2 years ago that pretty much thrust me into writing Project Red, which is a book that I've been working on for very many years, but didn't start really properly writing it until 2 years ago after I read this book, because I'm like, you know what? I want to do to my readers as Carrie Maniscalco has done to me, create an atmospheric world with really loving and awesome characters, and then put them in crazy situations that they'll have to come on top of if they don't want to die. And you know what? I could talk about both these books in the same way, in the mind-twisting and also shocking ways that they portray the story to you, because they're both amazing. All three of the books are amazing that are out right now. I wonder what's gonna happen in this one. How does this keep on happening to her? This is so good. Oh my lordy. I know I should feel bad for them, but I just want it to keep on getting worse. I can't breathe. Ooh. And what, you think things can't get worse? Oh, plot twist! Didn't see that one coming, did I? So Stalking Jack the Ripper, let's talk about that. So Audrey Rose is far beyond her time. She lives in the 1800s in London, and as you can tell by the title of it, during the Jack the Ripper era. Fun stuff to be a woman during that time. And that's why Audrey Rose, our main character of the story, is beyond her time. She dissects bodies and is apprenticed to her uncle who works in forensics, and dissecting bodies and learning about death is her passion. Same! And that's why when bodies start coming in who have been mutilated by Jack the Ripper, she takes a particular interest. And so it takes her and her companion, Thomas Cresswell, who also is an apprentice in forensics with her uncle. It takes them on a journey throughout the darkened streets of London to find out who Jack the Ripper is, and it may lead her closer to her circles than she ever thought possible. And guys, this book is phenomenal. The thing is, I did see the ending coming a little bit, but it didn't really show itself until the very end, so I still think that's very good. But the thing about this series is that it takes very popular figures in history, like Jack the Ripper, Dracula, Houdini, and it weaves it into a story of mystery and death and murder and crazy things in a historical era, and it has such an amazing, strong female character, an amazing partner, Thomas Cresswell, and they're put into these crazy mysteries in which they have to solve, and it's just such a good series, such a good concept. I love these characters. I love the premise of each and every one of these books because they have amazing twists and turns around every single corner, and it presents to you a mystery without it being like always the main focus, because there's other offshoots of the story that you also love as well. So the mystery is a huge part of it, and the twists and turns are an amazing plus, but you also fall in love with these characters. And guys, lastly, we have another historical fiction. And it's not a mystery necessarily. It's more of an epic journey. And it's actually the second book in a series that you guys probably know well from me because it's my favorite, Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. But this is not Outlander, guys. No, it is not. Because this is the second book, Dragonfly and Amber. And with no spoilers, because of course it's the second book, and now I actually mean to have the second book up here, because this is the one I'm talking about. Outlander presented us a story of being lost in time and finding a love that you never knew you were seeking, and it showed you how much you're capable of when you just use your mind and your heart and your willpower. And it's such an amazing book. I love it so much. And I really love Dragonfly and Amber as well. Was it as good as Outlander? No. But do you know what made it super good in general, like as its own entity? The very first chapter. Because it thrusts you into the story in which you thought you knew, and pretty much spoils you for the rest of the book, but in a way that you don't hate. It's more in a way that you're like, what the heck is happening? I literally had to look up if this was really the second book in the series when I was first starting it because of the way it began. Okay, Dragonfly and Amber, let's see if you're as good as Outlander. Huh? This is the second book, right? Yeah, book 2. What kind of author spoils their own book? Diana! I mean, still gotta read it, so. You know what? It all makes sense now. I wish it didn't, though. Dragonfly and Amber, I'm putting it on the list because if you have made it through Outlander but have not continued on with the series, please do, because the very first chapter in this will literally blow your mind and break your soul all in one, and we love that. We love when books break our souls and make us second guess everything we've ever read. And it was just so cool how Diana Gabaldon, the author, spoiled us for the rest of the book, but in a way that we did not hate necessarily, made us more intrigued if anything. So guys, yeah. Crazy. And with that being said, guys, we have our 5 mind-blowing books for you that you should read, and I'll be linking them down below if you want to check them out. Don't forget to go follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My username is @SashaAlsberg, and please, once again, pre-order my second book, Nexus. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!